Welcome to Thrive Radio. I'm your host, Amy Montgomery, entrepreneur and digital marketing agency owner. Today, my guest is Kim Wileman. She is the visionary founder of Galla Beauty and No Makeup Makeup. Known as the CEO Whisperer, Kim has transformed the beauty industry with her commitment to clean, effortless beauty and her passion for empowering women to embrace their authentic selves. From reintroducing the iconic No Makeup Makeup foundation to her innovative agency, Galla Beauty, Kim is redefining what it means to build meaningful, impactful brands. Today, we dive into her journey, her vision, and the inspiration behind her groundbreaking work. Kim, welcome to the podcast.
So happy to be here, Amy. You are such a delight. I love your content. And every time we jump on a call, we talk about so many interesting things. So super fun. Thank you for having me.
Yes, thank you so much for coming on. Can you share, we start a little bit by you sharing your journey and what led you to where you are today? What's some of the backstory?
So I'm a Gen Xer. So it was a different time when you started working. And to be honest, I don't really have a path in life. I really only liked fashion and beauty. That was really what I liked. And I thought I used to be enamored going to the stores and seeing all of the beautiful women behind the counter. And I just thought, God, they look so beautiful. I love playing with makeup. And my career just evolved in a natural, organic way. I started off at Saks Fifth Avenue. So I started off being really customer centric. And a position opened up as acting manager and buyer for cosmetics. And I begged for that job. I walked myself, my little self, I was a kid, walked myself into the store manager's office and I said, I want you to consider me for this role. And I think they thought they were saving money. So they gave me the role because I was like 19 years old. And I did not know what I was getting myself into. I walked into a department that had about 75 employees and contractors as a kid, and those women ate me alive. They also gave me the most incredible education in my entire life. I got to learn about product formulation, ingredients, how to talk to the customer. I met customers one-on-one. I knew what campaigns worked. I knew which products were going to be successful. And just the excitement on the floor over a new product was contagious. And I was hooked from that moment. I loved having the vendors come in and talk about everything that's new. And from the moment that I took on that role, I was able to grow that business exponentially. And thus my career just followed.
That's amazing. And it's amazing to me that's where you started because I'm flashing back to I was an assistant to the executive of stores at Macy's.
Yeah.
When I was younger. And if you've watched Devil Wears Prada,
favorite movie ever.
That was the reality. Like she would come in every day and throw her coat in my face. And I was chasing her dog, trying to find her dog, and I managed the book, but it was the book
right.
the stores, like it was almost
right.
identical. And the fact that you started there, like it shows what a badass you are.
I always feel that way too, right? I always feel like everybody has a history and a story. For me, that background is the very essence of everything that I do and everything I create. I love the customer. I believe she deserves the best. I don't like creating products that just aren't meaningful. It doesn't make sense. Nobody needs an extra mascara, but they need the best mascara, right?
Yeah.
They don't need another lotion or potion, but they need the best one. And everything evolves. So you could always do better. And that's the framework that I work from.
I love that. So you've been described as the CEO whisperer and a true trailblazer in the beauty industry. When did you first realize you had this unique ability and to ignite that potential in founders and executives and celebrities? Was there like a defining moment?
It grew. Actually, yes, there was that's a really good question. I want to say a little bit over 20 years ago, I met Victoria Jackson, who's the creator of the No Makeup Makeup movement, and she is the founder of No Makeup Makeup, and we're co-founders for No Makeup. I met her over 20 years ago when she owned Lola Cosmetics. And she was somebody that I had seen on television throughout the years. And I remember asking myself as a kid, she's a little over 20 years older than me, maybe 20, close to 25 years older than me. And I remember seeing her on television. And like sometimes when you get that view of the future, I thought to myself, I wonder if I'm going to know her someday. I get the opportunity to interview with her to be vice president of marketing for Lola Cosmetics. And I was really excited. She didn't know that I knew who she was, but I knew who she was. And I really prepared for this meeting. I remember arming myself because we're going over 20 years ago. I was a young woman. I was in my mid 30s. And I remember creating a presentation of what I would do and what I saw for the brand. And we spoke for about 35 minutes and she hired me on the spot.
Wow.
And I remember feeling like seeing my future open up beyond that. And then I've had several situations like that that have been super meaningful. And when you talk about celebrities, in particular, I've worked with more than a couple of A-list celebrities, but with Jennifer Lopez, it was easy. And I have to say for your listeners, Jennifer's actually really great. She knows what she wants. She was always kind and respectful, but demanding in a way that you would expect somebody like her would be.
Yeah.
I never found her to be dismissive or anything. She knew what she wanted and I knew how to listen. And I think that is one of the keys of creating a great relationship, no matter whether you're CEO, a celebrity, us connecting, it's listening to the other person, finding the common ground. And then also, because I understand the customer at the level that I understand the customer, I've been able to create really successful award-winning products and brands.
Yeah, yeah. And you said something that's key that I heard from somebody else, especially when it comes to celebrities and having their own makeup and their own those types of product lines is they have to take it seriously, and a lot of them don't. And it sounds to me like with Jennifer Lopez that she's one that does, which is it says a lot about her.
At the time, I no longer have JLo Beauty on my roster because of No Makeup Makeup and
Yeah.
just evolving myself. At the time when we initially created it, she was super passionate about the project. I've had other celebrities that I've worked with where honestly I've walked away because the passion wasn't there
Yeah.
and I couldn't see where it was going to go. I've had other situations where I've created the brand and just created the brand and didn't follow it through execution, which has been acceptable. And I've worked with people like yourself, influencers. I helped to develop Dibs Beauty with Jeff Lee and Courtney Shields.
Okay.
And both of them are phenomenal. Jeff Lee was a friend from JLo Beauty.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and I can't say enough great things about him. And look at what they've done.
Yeah,
It's incredible.
it's insane.
Courtney knows her audience. She knows what she wants.
Yeah.
She knows how to incorporate her brand ethos into everything she does. It's so impressive.
Yeah. Yeah.
Loved working with them. Loved it.
That's amazing. So your work with Gala Beauty and No Makeup Makeup is really focused on empowering women to embrace their authentic selves. What inspired you to build a brand around that mission of confidence and authenticity?
I think that there's a couple of universal truths in beauty, and everybody wants great skin, no matter who you are. Everybody wants their skin to look its best, right? And everybody wants to put their best foot forward. If you don't, then something else is going on internally. But everybody really does want to look their best and they want to feel their best. And we all know that when you look good, you do feel good about yourself. You sit up straighter, you're more confident, you can face the world. All of those things are not frivolous, it's meaningful, because when you feel that level of confidence, you can have a great day. You can have a great presentation. You can have an amazing podcast. You can put together incredible content for TikTok or Instagram. You feel invincible. You feel like, yeah, I can do this. Great self-esteem. And I feel that women, not obviously, we're not all supermodels. I'm not a supermodel, but I want to look and feel my best. I want to create products that help people look their best without masking their skin, without masking themselves. I've never felt that anybody needs to hide themselves either with cosmetics or even with what they do or say. I think everybody should feel and believe that they can be their authentic, true self.
I love that. Yeah, it's so true. And being the best version of you, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So you brought back no makeup makeup. Tell me a little bit about the history of it. And then you renewed it and made it completely different with clean
Mhm.
beauty. And why was it important to you to reintroduce the product that way? And what does clean beauty mean to you?
So about a little over 2 years ago, Victoria Jackson came back to me. She had a foundation called the Victoria Jackson Foundation Duo. It was an enormous seller. We're talking hundreds of thousands, millions of units throughout the years. The business was incredible because I went from actually Lola to actually general manager for Victoria Jackson Cosmetics. She ended up closing that business because her daughter got sick. So we ended up sunsetting Victoria Jackson Cosmetics, I want to say in 2015, 2016. And she came back to me about 2.5 years later, 2.5 years ago, and said, Kim, I'm not done in beauty. I want to launch No Makeup Makeup. We own the trademark. We've owned the trademark since the late 1990s, but she's been using the term no make. She was the first person to use the term no makeup makeup since the early 1980s. We've got all of the footage. And we talked about it, and it was really important for us not to launch a brand that had 60, 100 SKUs. We wanted to really be impactful and intentional. And the foundation is where we decided we were going to start. Um, so I worked with this amazing Italian chemist, and we took the original Victoria Jackson Foundation Duo and we made it clean, because you have to remember the formulas from the 80s, those included like mineral oil and all sorts of derivatives of things to like keep your skin looking great. It contained all of that. So we wanted the same performance, but we needed to make it relevant and we needed to modernize it. And we were able to do that. And we were able to incorporate this something we're calling flex shade technology, which is adaptive shade technology. 13 shades. It covers everybody from the lightest light to the darkest dark, but it's because the product, as you use it and you're blending it into your skin, it is adapting to the heat of your skin. We love watching customers put it on because you can see that. And in terms of clean, what we decided to do is we had it derm tested, allergy tested, safe for sensitive skin, hormone disruptor free, nut free, soy free, fragrance free, like all of the frees that you can think of. And it is a beautiful formula. Clean right now, everybody should be developing with that thought in their mind, because that is the norm right
Yeah.
now. People want it, they expect it, and it's what we should be doing. It's the customer wants it. So we
Yeah.
need to meet them there.
I love that. And in trying it myself, you would expect, because you open it up, it's like looks like a powder, and then you put it on
It's not.
and you don't, yeah, your face doesn't feel like a powder would be on, like a powder's on it. It doesn't even feel, because normally like I'll put a foundation on, then I'll put the powder on top of it. But then with the no makeup makeup, you put it on and you don't feel anything.
You don't even need powder. So even
Yeah.
as an
Well,
oily,
yeah, you
I'm a
don't.
T-zone, I'm a T-zone person. I don't know if you're a T-zone person. I'm like oily here, drier on my cheeks. Don't need powder.
Yeah.
Don't
Yeah.
need concealer.
Yeah. Yeah. No,
Yeah,
it's phenomenal. I tried it on. I did a little video and I wiped off half of my makeup. I
right.
I put it on one side of my face and I had my anti-aging serum. So I had a lot of moisture, right?
Yeah, awesome.
And put that on. And I was like, oh, so now my face looks glowy and covered.
Yeah,
And so then I went and I washed off that first that I used it and I put it over the other makeup and it made the other makeup even look better. And then I was like, wait, now I'm going to wash that off and put it on so I have matching sides of my face. But no, I absolutely loved it and how fast it works. And yeah, you don't need anything extra.
we basically officially launched on July 30th with a WWD article, which was amazing. We have to show people like you need the tiniest bit of product and you can do your whole face. And then if you need to go back and cover like redness or whatever, you dip a little bit more and put it on. But
Yeah.
this is one, honestly, out of everything I've developed, this is the best thing I've ever developed. And I mean that like I don't want to be braggy or anything, but it is the best thing I've ever developed. We're
Yeah.
so obsessed with it. We talk about foundation all day long. It's like it's kooky. It's
Yeah.
hilarious.
Yeah. And I'm one of those people, I'm still, like I mentioned, I'm still learning a lot of the makeup. And I know that less is more, but for me, more is more.
Yeah,
So I'm just
yeah,
like, let's put it on.
yeah, yeah.
But
Well, you do a great job. You do a
yeah,
wonderful job.
I absolutely love it. And yeah, I do have to stay away from like the eyeshadows that are colored and that sort of thing because people start to notice you really put your makeup on heavy, don't you? So as long as I stay with the naturals, I'm good. But yeah, I love that.
Although, if that's what you want to we've always, both Victoria and I have always been, you do you.
Yeah.
Like, of course, we want to be everybody's favorite foundation, but it's really important that people feel good in their own skin. And if bright eyeshadow and like heavy eye makeup works for you, go for it.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's a nice
Yeah,
way to go viral and get lots of comments.
exactly. Exactly. Love it.
So I did want to ask you a little bit about the networking aspect because you've worked with a lot of these big brands. What's the secret to forging those meaningful connections and partnerships that makes brands stand out? Because I wanted to ask you this because I think that there's a lot of businesses that struggle in this area.
Yeah. This is a really, really good point for people. If you're a young person or even millennial and you want to get into the beauty industry or expand your base, you need to get out there and network. I would say join CEW, join the 10th house, um, join local meetings, go to Makeup New York, go to Makeup LA, go to Cosmoprof, and just ingrain yourself in that. For me, my holy grail, and the reason why I know so many people is after I left Saks Fifth Avenue, I moved to Hawaii. I met my husband on vacation in Hawaii, and it's a wild story.
Yeah.
And I ended up being a merchant for duty-free shops. And I was a kid, like 25 years old, all I knew about duty free was that it was like in the airports.
Hmm.
Had no idea when I got the job that my business there was $1 billion just in the Waikiki store. Now I'm 25 years old and it's another 300, 400 million for the outer islands. And my customer now is US customers from throughout Asia, Japan, China, Guam, Singapore, and for some reason, Germany and Korea. And it was a fascinating business. But because I did that, I got to meet so many different brands, all of the executives from those brands. I highly recommend that if you're in this industry, there's two things or want to be in this industry. There's two main points. Number one, work at Sephora or Ulta. Get to know the brands, get to know the ingredients. Do that for a year or two, truly. Number two, working as a buyer was my holy grail because I got to meet so many people and I love people. I love to chit chat. I remember people's names. I remember their kids' names. It's like one of those gifts that I've always had. And that passion always can shine through. So I would do that. I would go to those events, network, don't feel shy. There's lots of people who show up and they're by themselves and they just want to learn about products. They want to meet founders. They want to meet. I just went to a WWD event and the founder of Ilia was speaking. And then there was the Amazon team was there. And there were all of these new brands, and you got to meet them. And everybody is so passionate about what they're doing. It's really fun to see.
Yeah, I love that. So Gala Beauty has become known as a growth incubator for beauty brands. What does it mean to be a brand whisperer in today's competitive market? And how do you guide brands to find their unique voice?
So when brands come to me for Gala, they come in two different ways. It's either a new brand that is looking to launch something and they need a strategy. They've got a good concept. They know what they want. And if it's a good concept and we vibe, then I'm all in. If it's an okay concept, I'll try and lead them into other areas and show them, no, this idea exists. If you modify it this way, maybe that'll work for you. It's really important for me because I know the consumer, because I'm actually in this space day to day. I've done everything there is in this industry. I've been an executive, operator, CEO, president, marketing, product development, you name it, I have done it. And I take that lens and all of the people that I've met from the industry. So I've got validated partners, right? Which then helps Galla Beauty.
Yeah.
Because those validated partners, those people that I've worked with for so many years that I know have integrity, they're honest, they know their products, fair pricing, meet timelines, all of that good stuff goes into it. And I'm able to bring that to the client. And I've got a reputation for that, which is phenomenal. So if the second way a brand will come to me is they're struggling and they don't know why they're not moving forward. And I may take a look at the brand and just say, okay, let's just do an opportunities review.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll take a look. I'm working on one right now that I'm super excited about. For instance, in this day and age, you have to be multi-channel. You have to treat TikTok as its own channel.
Mm-hmm.
You have to treat Instagram shops as a channel, obviously Amazon. For what I do, Amazon isn't a discovery place, but it is a validator and you need to have it. It's really important. They're expanding into the luxury space so quickly, and they're actually a great company to work with. You need retail, but you need the right retail partner. So I work with the customers to understand what your margins are going to be through channel, and then also other opportunities. Who's the best partner for growth marketing? Who's the best partner for affiliate? Who's the best partner for social media? How you should be looking and engaging with your customers.
So what advice would you give to women who are struggling to feel seen or heard in their own journeys, and whether in business or in their life?
Oh, this is a heavy duty question, Amy. I think it's really important in the beauty industry to have an open door, especially as people are coming up. And for me personally, it's been really important to work with people who are young and enthusiastic and want to grow in the industry. It really is. But the beauty industry is tough. And a lot of the conglomerates, there can be a culture of cliquey and intense, and that doesn't feel good for anybody. So my recommendation is, if you are passionate about the beauty industry and say you want to go into work, you get a job with a brand and you're super excited about the brand, but you get there and it's not your people, don't despair, move on. And don't take it as a failure, because there are learnings even in those uncomfortable situations. I have a daughter. She has a small agency and she works with beauty brands. That's her main focus. And I think we all need the experience to work with difficult people and in environments that don't vibe with us, because it helps you to understand who you are, what you want, what your boundaries are going to be, who your people are. And I can honestly say, and I bet you can say this too, Amy, that you have friends from like the beginning of like when you started working, that you can still call some of those people friends. I worked for Wella Sebastian as P&G was buying them. I've got some of my best friends from that time, and I was in my late 20s.
Yeah, it definitely builds and navigating some of those tougher relationships and even like the toxic ones. I think I got really good at it. I got, what was his first name? His last name's Green. He's got all these different books. One of them is called The Power of Influence.
Yeah,
Yeah.
great book.
Yeah. And that book, I remember I was working for a very toxic boss and I had just started to read that book, and she had fired every single person she ever worked with and hated everybody that she ever worked with. And I
Too
started
much
to,
energy.
yeah. And what she would do to everyone was she would give them work to do. And let's say it was, for example, doing the fulfillment for the store and
Okay.
all this, the fulfillment of thousands and thousands of products. And there will be a process to go through to get those things fulfilled. And here's the files that I'm about to send over for fulfillment. And she would want to go into Excel and manually go through every single product and every single line and read all the text files and redo everything just to make sure
Wow.
it was correct. And so she was a bottleneck on multiple levels. And it was interesting.
Wow.
Yeah, I read that book and to a T it described her in one of the chapters. And it had said they are the ones that also are the ones that want to be known for the only one that gives. And she had a candy dish on her desk. And one day I tried to refill the candy because I had been eating it. And she goes, "Oh, no, no, I'm the only one that gives." So I knew exactly who she was. And so that I just used that book to work with her. And then nobody understood why she loved me so much.
Isn't that so funny when you can tap in? I think when people are super insecure, they act that way. And
Yeah.
just working with other people, some people we have to guide. They're going to
Yeah.
need information because you have to guide them. But like my team for No Makeup Makeup, it is a collaborative effort. And I always say that. One of my most favorite things to say is I remember I was working with this brand once. It may have been Lola Cosmetics. And we had an order that we had to get out the door. And it was late. It was late at the manufacturer, and Sephora was screaming about it. It was a stressful situation. So we decide that we're going to go to the manufacturer and help them fulfill the items. If you want to be humbled real quick, take yourself as an executive and go and try and go on an assembly line and try to fulfill an item. And
Right.
and you become the bottleneck, and everybody is laughing at you because you're literally the bottleneck, because these people. And I'm so happy I had that experience in my mid 30s, because what it told me is that every aspect of the industry that I'm in, the beauty industry, people are passionate about their work. The women that were on that assembly line were so proud of what they were doing, and they had such a camaraderie. It was really beautiful to see. And I even say that like when I'm working with a manufacturer and you're producing and you're going through production, there is such passion about making sure that you can meet the timelines and the communication. It's incredible. It really does take a village. It's not just one person. One person can have the idea, but in today's day and age, it's not the way it was 10 years ago.
Yeah.
There is so much that is required to launch a brand. You just have to know your tribe.
Yeah. Love that. What do you think has been your truth that has gotten you this far in your journey?
Oh, for me,
Yeah.
100% it's my integrity, my authenticity, and my passion for innovation. I would say those three things. I love innovation. I love to look at something that I've done and think, I can make that better. I need to make that better. Or when you're talking to a CEO, and like when I had light bulbs when I first met Jennifer Lopez, and I was like, huh, I know what she wants. I knew what she wanted. And she actually said to me when we went back in, because I was a consultant for Guppy Rinker at the time, she said, "You got in my brain. And you came back with a concept that is exactly what I want," which it's a great compliment to hear
Yeah.
from somebody. Could have
Yeah.
been anybody saying it, but it's a good compliment.
And to have that intuitive power, that's a gift. Not
Yeah,
everybody has the ability to be intuitive with other people.
100%.
If you were able to give yourself one piece of advice when you first started out, what would it be?
Don't take it personally.
Yeah.
Don't take it personally. Everybody has their own journey. And the older you get, the more I realize that some people, sometimes the hardest people in your path, the biggest betrayals are the biggest learning lessons, and the biggest gifts come from that. And so now I reframe it and I try to look at people. I really do this. I really try to look at people from their perspective. Doesn't mean I'm Italian. I get fiery, but I really believe that everybody has their own path and their own set of experiences. And I really try hard to see the perspective from the other person's side.
Yeah. And that's not easy.
No, it isn't. I wish I could say I was like brilliant at it. It is a lifelong journey.
Yeah, definitely. So, Kim, if there's somebody that is listening that would love to work with you, what's the best way to contact you?
You can reach out to me on LinkedIn, Kim Wileman on LinkedIn for sure. You can reach me at Kim at Galla Beauty or Kim at nomakeupmakeup.com. And I'm really good at getting back to people. I love mentoring people. I am mulling about potentially doing a, not a course, but some meetings and educational meetings about the beauty industry, and having a couple of people sign up and see where that takes me.
I love that. I love that.
Yeah.
Definitely. Thank you so much for coming on today and sharing your expertise.
Amy, this was so fun. Thank you so much.
Yes.
Yeah.
And if you are listening, you want more information about this podcast and upcoming shows, you can visit a call to thrive.com. Thank you, everyone, and have a wonderful week.